Welcome back to our special series, Styles and Epochs of Art, where we explore the living history of landscape, a dialogue where art, nature, and the human spirit continue to meet and evolve. This series is a special project by LASD Studio, Landscape Architecture, Sustainability, and Design, offering thoughtful, site-specific work around the world. Visit lasdstudio.com to learn more. When we left the last chapter, the world had just discovered modernism, a design language of optimism. Clean lines, open plans, the promise that form and function could finally walk hand in hand. But soon the century turned, and reality returned. Cities swelled, resources strained, and the idea of progress itself began to feel fragile. This is where our story continues. After World War II, modernism broke into many voices. Bauhaus clarity met the practical energy of a rebuilding world. In America, the Harvard trio, Eckbo, Dan Kiley, and James Rose, took those abstract ideals outdoors. Their landscapes were made for living. Patios, pools, flexible garden rooms that blurred the line between house and horizon. In the deserts of Palm Springs, geometry met sunlight. White concrete, low walls, and wind-shaped palms replacing marble symmetry. Form now followed use, not axis. The garden became an extension of the modern home, and for a while, it felt like design had finally learned to serve everyday life. Yet by the late 1960s, a quiet unease grew. Smog dimmed the sun over Los Angeles. Rivers caught fire in Ohio. Floods, droughts, and dying forests whispered that beauty and comfort alone could not protect us. Designers began asking new questions. What if the landscape isn't only for people? What if it must serve the planet that sustains us? Books like Design with Nature by McHarg changed everything. Introducing ecological overlays, soils, slopes, vegetation as the foundation of design. It was a shift from composition to performance, from space-making to life-making. Long before sustainability became a slogan, scientists were already redefining our place on Earth. In 1926, the Ukrainian geochemist Vladimir Vernadsky described life as a geologic force. He called it the biosphere, a living skin where rock, water, and organisms continually shape one another. Later, he imagined the noosphere, a sphere of human thought interacting with that living Earth. Half a century later, James Lovelock and Lynn Margulis advanced the Gaia hypothesis, the idea that our planet behaves as a self-regulating organism. Together, these thinkers painted a radical picture. Humanity is not above nature, but inside its metabolism. And then the world saw those theories tested in pain. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 1945, cities erased in seconds. A new awareness dawned. The power to destroy the planet sat in human hands. For decades later, Chernobyl, 1986. One reactor explosion, invisible clouds of radiation drifting across Europe within days. French censors, Swedish forests, British rain all carried the same signature. The lesson was impossible to ignore. One site can disturb the balance of the whole Earth. From that moment, landscape architects, planners, and artists began to think in systems, not sites. Design could no longer be local decoration. It had to become global responsibility. Across continents, the new language of ecology started to take form. Let's travel through a few places where this change became real. The Woodlands, Texas. A new town planned not by zoning, but by nature's own maps. Creeks, soils, and habitat corridors dictated every street and pond. Emscher Landschaftspark in Duisburg Nord, Germany. Abandoned steelworks turned into living parks. Rust, birch, and water reclaiming industry, proof that decay can become beauty. Parco Nor Milano, Italy. Forests grown over rubble. Meadows breathing where factories once stood. Hammarby Sjöstad, Stockholm. a city district designed as a closed ecological loop, energy, water, and waste cycling like an ecosystem. Part de la Dule, Lille Metropole. Farmland, slag heaps, and rivers stitched into a vast green corridor cleansing the groundwater. Crissy Field, San Francisco. A military airstrip reborn as tidal marsh, where pelicans now land instead of planes. West Philadelphia Landscape Project in Winston-Spurn. Stormwater design as social justice. Vacant lots turned into learning landscapes for local communities. Barcelona, 92 coastal transformation. Industrial port to civic beaches, with storm tanks hidden below to protect the Mediterranean. Sunjai Buloh Wetland Reserve, Singapore. A mangrove sanctuary thriving beside skyscrapers, where migratory birds rest between continents. Sydney Olympic Parklands, Australia. A toxic wasteland cleaned, replanted, and made home again to the endangered green and golden bell frog. The first Green Olympics. Policy milestone, Orange County NCCP, California. 37,000 acres of habitat protected through one regional plan, an early model of ecological governance. Each of these projects carried the same seed, the idea that landscape is not a stage, but a living infrastructure of the planet. By the year 2000, a quiet revolution had taken root. Designers were no longer simply shaping spaces. They were choreographing relationships between people and water, between memory and metabolism. The discipline had learned to see the earth as one body, alive and interdependent. But a new question was rising on the horizon. If the landscape is alive, can it also learn? Can we design environments that sense, adapt, and evolve? Systems that think with us rather than for us? That question leads us into the next chapter, the contemporary evolution, where ecology meets technology and landscape becomes an evolving, intelligent system. If you enjoyed this journey, like, subscribe, and share, and join us for more. This series is a special project by LASD Studio. Landscape architecture, sustainability, and design, offering thoughtful, site-specific work around the world. Visit lasdstudio.com to explore our approach and projects. Let's keep walking together through the living history of landscape, where art, nature, and the human spirit continue to meet and evolve.